I'm Mark Norris. I'm a senior advisor here at the Local Government Association. I've been working on police and crime commissioners and policies related to it for the last 3 years, because we started doing that when we were looking at manifestos ahead of the general election in 2010. Thinking ahead to some of the challenges that panels face when they have to take up their responsibilities from the 22nd of November, there's going to be quite a lot for them to do in that first 139 odd days that run between the 22nd of November and the 1st of April. There's quite a lot that police and crime commissioners have got to do, so from their point of view, police and crime panels will also have quite a lot to do. I mean, the key elements for that are going to be reviewing and making recommendations and writing a report on the PCC's Police and Crime Plan. That's got to be done by the end of the financial year, so the 31st of March. On top of that, there's the very tight timetable for scrutinising the PCC's precept. One hopes that in collaboration with the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner, their local Police and Crime Commissioner, that the panel will be able to come up with a timetable which means they have early sight of the proposals for the precept and the budget requirements and the things that support the documentation that supports that precept. But at the end of the day, with the best will in the world, it's going to be quite a challenge for PCCs who will only have taken office at the end of November to put together in literally a couple of months the documentation that's needed for the panel by the end of January. So it may well be that in some circumstances panels are left facing having to do the scrutiny of the PCC's precept in the very short timetable set out by the regulations that the Home Office have produced, and have to do it between the 1st and the 8th of February. At the same time, they're also going to have to get used to perhaps the concept of doing confirmation hearings, something that's never been done in local government before. The only precedent we've got for that are what happens over in Parliament with the select committees that sit in the House of Commons, and which in some instances provide scrutiny of pre-appointment hearings to non-public departmental bodies, or quangos. So getting their heads around doing that is going to be quite interesting, and given that at least a quarter of chief constables are on temporary contracts, and with the recent retirement of one prominent chief constable in West Yorkshire and the appointment of, for example, the Hampshire chief constable to a new post from early next year, that in fact that number is growing, so there's going to be quite a lot for people to do on that front. And then you add in complaints, which is a role that the panel is going to have in terms of dealing with non-criminal complaints about the behaviour of the Police and Crime Commissioner or their deputy. There's going to be an awful lot for them to get their heads around in that first 100 days, and so it's going to be quite a difficult set of a challenging time, I think, for them to deal with all of these things potentially simultaneously and in quite short order.